Ever wondered what if From Software had created Super Mario RPG instead of Nintendo? Well, my friend, you're in luck. Welcome to Deep Thoughts While Gaming. I'm Chris Chappell. Today we embark on a philosophical journey to kill God in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. With their debut title, Sandfall Interactive has set out to create a satisfying RPG experience with engaging real-time combat elements and cinematic stylings reminiscent of the popular franchise Final Fantasy, although with much less hairspray. While exploring the enigmatic depths of this beautifully damaged Bellapoke world, the player's band of adventurers is charged with confronting a powerful goddess who is methodically erasing humanity from existence in order to kill her back. Well, that sounds somewhat like a plan. We do have an actual plan though, right? Expedition 33 on the surface pulls from a myriad of other pivotal titles that have collectively molded the RPG genre and skillfully showcases its own flair at the same time. From a familiar mixture of open-world exploration and turn-based combat derived from the likes of Grandia and Super Mario RPG, to the addition of cinematically driven camera angles and cutscenes during encounters, the combat notably begins to shine. Beyond the impressive graphical stylings and otherworldly creature designs, the inclusion of real-time elements during attack and defense phases of combat plays an effective role in avoiding the monotony often experienced in other turn-based systems by ensuring the player's undivided attention to survive. In Clair Obscur, the ragtag band of adventurers sets out to quite literally kill the supreme deity, the goddess of their universe known as the Paintress. Every year within this broken world, she paints a new number upon her ancient monolith, and all who have lived the number of years painted upon the stone are erased and removed from existence. There is no intrinsic reasoning provided to the inhabitants of the Paintress's world, only that some must die at their appointed time. Apparently, she hasn't learned to paint anything besides numbers thus far. A bit derivative for my artistic taste, but to each his own. In response, new expeditions have been initiated to stop her from ever painting again, to silence and defeat the undeserving deity. Yet they have all been unsuccessful. Despite humanity's unified mission to end the existence of the goddess, there is, however, suspiciously little known about the past collective failures of other expeditions, only that the Paintress remains to turn human life into ash with each passing year. Hey Thanos, looks like we found you a new girlfriend. Led by Gustav in his last year alive, should the Paintress prevail, the new group of heroes have set out to stop her from completing the next cycle of death with the number 33. While each of the brave expeditionists bring their own perspective to the journey through Luminaire's beautifully twisted landscape, they will all be forced to contend with horrors beyond imagining, overcome tragedy, and still at the end of their journey, face the Paintress and defeat her. How hard could that be? Yes, since the dawn of time, humanity has sought to kill God. Ever since Adam supped on the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil and decided it's easier to blame God than take personal responsibility for your own actions. Truly, he is the father of us all. These days, intellectuals and philosophers prefer to talk about killing the idea of God instead of actually murdering a specific entity. After all, what does God need with a starship? God is presented as an overarching power structure, providing a unifying moral system by which to order society. And is the system broken and in need of fixing, or is it functioning as intended and needs to be destroyed? Many philosophers and intellectuals, particularly of the Marxist ilk, see killing God as the necessary catalyst to create a modern society, the spark for cultural revolution that would surely end in a utopia and definitely not hell on earth. This cogitation has certainly taken more literal forms throughout mythology, iconography, and every single JRPG. Seriously, you always end up killing God in these things. But the goal is the same: the expansion of individual will and the ascension of humanity to a state of godhood and self-determination. Beyond a simplistic quest for power, such mythological journeys, both modern and ancient, often represent the profound exploration of existential boundaries, the removal of all restrictions, and the intrinsic human sense of aspiration and ambition in the face of opposition. That and the need for some of us to be a complete badass. And with the abandoning of these outdated superstitions in place of the march of technology, humanity believes it has obtained sovereignty over one's surroundings, leading to a notably false sense of comfort and control within an inherently chaotic world. Nothing a little pandemic can't fix, of course. Arguably in the land of Lumiere, without the paintress leading humanity by the bit and bridle of impending doom, life would not be the hell that it's become. If everyone could just live as they see fit, without the goddess dictating the will of men, then the world could be whole again, as it should be. Liberty without boundaries, an absolute agency for all. Not unlike ancient gods or the horrific government powers of the modern age, the paintress retains her power over the people by ensuring her constant presence in their lives. It's a world directly linked with her will and the image she projects upon it. By removing her, the very foundation of the world's power structure, the lands of Lumiere, could be free to prosper in the right hands. In modern times, many have proclaimed that without the concept of God, the world is made better, less apathetic to the hardships of the world around them. By removing the unified lens of corporate sin or submission through which to view the world, it can be replaced by something better, more rational, more scientific. Certainly, while the entrenched shackles of the God concept are indeed tantalizing to break and cast asunder, unquenched societal freedom does appear to come with often unforeseen or willfully disregarded consequences in the vacuum of a god's sudden erasure from civilization. So the expedition is successful and the paintress is destroyed. What's next? What happens to the world they know in her absence? Was her only purpose in existing to simply cull the population? Or does she provide stability to other structures within Lumieran society? At the heart of Friedrich Nietzsche's famous proclamation that God is dead, he wholeheartedly laments the dark era of nihilism and apathy that will inherently follow such a seismic shift in society, the removal of a unifying moral perspective. What happens when those things are gone? According to famous Canadian psychologist Jordan Peterson, two things arise to replace it. One is a striving for power, and the other is the untrammeled path of hedonism. As he expounds, where mankind has removed the presence of the God concept, they have, to the sincere chagrin of modern intellectuals and philosophers alike, become generally less logical and free-thinking, often leaning more deeply into newly created dogmatic social orders and authoritarianism amidst their endless pursuit of their base desires. When the one perspective, one truth, that holds all the power, good or bad, is abruptly removed from society, shall all of humanity be left to blindly claw for power in its sudden absence? Or perhaps, will someone else need to take the proverbial helm and apply their perspective to society? Throughout recorded history, the concept has been tested time and again, often with the same unfortunate results. Amidst an infinite number of individually competing perspectives, a utopia is rarely discovered within a rudderless humanity, and so new leadership rises to fill the void. If one were to wield such power, that of a god or unrivaled ruler, could they be truly devoid of corruption and lead benevolently? Or would someone else not simply come along and forcibly take the power from them when they are seen as unneeded or reviled? An endless Game of Thrones, you might say, that coincidentally would also remain unfinished. As borne out by history and famously expressed by John Edward Acton, power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. When given the mantle of power, humanity has consistently failed, often in proportion to the power afforded them and the level of corruption already present within their own fallible psyche. We have seen impossibly powerful rulers and gods of their time dragged down and killed, both metaphorically and quite literally, yet more often than not replaced by those far worse than their predecessors. Such a downward replacement spiral is especially true if a society is already weakened and degraded by an endless appetite for baser pleasures and social influence, while lacking a unifying truth to build their societal moral agreements upon. I'm not talking about any country in particular, of course. In the end, like Nietzsche's famous musings, Expedition 33's lessons do not provide easy answers to such a profound dilemma within the human psyche. Whether the heroes of Lumiere defeat the paintress or not, the contending values at play, bearing witness to the effect of the God concept, or the nihilistic and narcissistic vacuum often created by its removal, will certainly continue to compete within the human mind. While we wait for Expedition 33's release, do you believe they will succeed in their intended mission? Is the paintress truly evil, or is she simply a pawn in an even greater game beyond mankind's limited understanding? Whose vision of the world would you choose? Mine, of course, for I do not know how to paint. Thank you for watching Deep Thoughts While Gaming. And remember, as great as this game is, Logan's Run still did it better. Don't let the paintress win. Hit that like and subscribe button. And to take it to the next level, hit that join button. To support the show, get access to an exclusive Discord server, live streams, emojis, videos, and the knowledge that when your number's up, I'll be there to finish the job. And if you love RPGs, then you must love Kingdom Hearts. Let me tell you why its core message is absolutely stupid. Click this video.